Chat, here we go. We have ourselves a live show match. We've got Nush versus Tempo, and I'm pretty excited to watch both these guys play. Mostly because look at this drip that Tempo is playing in. I mean, my goodness. This is drippy. The backwards hat, the Dominus. Sheesh. But also, because I think these are two players that everyone is really excited to see more of. They have a really exciting playstyle. Very mechanical. You know, Nush, does Tempo have a montage? Nush was maybe one of the first guys to kind of bring montages back, because I'm not gonna lie to you, montages went stale. I think we could all agree that there was years of Rocket League that's like, okay, we get it. We've seen people hit clips. The Tages, I sleep. And then Nush had a montage that everyone was like, wait a second, are montages sick again? Next thing you know, I feel like we've seen a couple of really nice ones pop out. I feel like Tempo could have a pretty good one if he doesn't already. Okay, I saw someone responding to the message. I didn't know who sent it. And now that I see it's Proverb, I feel better. The message was, of course, I love coming here for good show matches, but who is this caster? And someone said, Timu Johnny Boy. And it's of course people who are here all the time. And as much as they love to joke, here they are, loving the stream. Sleaze Breeze! Thank you for the 5 gifted, Sleaze Breeze. W Oilers in the chat. That is your resident Oiler, chat. Mr. Sleaze Breeze, how many is that on the channel now? It is 286 all time on the channel. Please respect your Oilers here in this chat. Tempo gonna make a save and a counter for what has been a fairly low-scoring game so far. Nush, before the series, said, I'll get his cope out for you guys. He said it privately, so he wasn't even gonna, you know, mention it on stream. But he says he doesn't play Rocket League much recently because he's been studying for final exams, but said he was still down to play a little match. So we'll see how it goes for him today. Nush has been watching these replays for whatever reason. Is anyone ever really anywhere when you think about it? This is definitely the right place to figure out the answer to that philosophical question. There's no better place to discuss it so that people watching the YouTube video later can stay glued to the right side of the screen, not paying attention at all to the gameplay, and instead trying to figure out if they ever figured out the answer to such a philosophical question. Nush, a little musty on the air dribble to keep the dribble going. And we'll jump up to 50 Tempo. Tempo said before the match today that he had a long run through the qualifiers as Nush will roll through the ball. I didn't get a chance to clarify with him as I was trying to set up the match. I'm hoping Wild did not have a long run because they lost the game or something and had to play through lowers. Does anybody know? Was anybody watching the Tempo stream? Or was it just long because, you know, a lot of people queued up. You got to wait forever for people to ready up. That kind of, I mean, sometimes it is just long despite going just fine. Tempo leaning back for a reset. Oh my goodness, he broke the ball. I don't know how it didn't pop getting launched by that flick, but it is going to go too high. Thank you for the 14 subs. Thank you for the 14 subs. That alert has been sitting there for like a couple weeks now. For if anyone ever gifted exactly 14 subs. So I don't know how Sleaze Breeze decided that he wanted to gift 14 subs. My guess is because he wanted to hit like a certain number. Yeah, he wanted to hit 300. He wanted to hit 300 exact subs. So he went with 14. But turns out gifting exactly 14 subs also triggers our DSC 1439 alert. So there you go. I know at least some of you have been waiting to hear it. Our hidden alerts as Tempo gets himself a 4th goal. Okay, what if you give 39 subs? I mean, I don't know. I guess you'll have to find out. For anybody who's in the YouTube who's just completely lost at what just happened, I'm sorry you had to sit through that AI meow song, but basically you can't even tell because as far as you're aware, people just type cat in the chat. You don't even see how they're doing it. They type DSC 1439 to get the cat to show up. And so gifting 14 subs gave the cat alert. Hopefully you now understand it. I'm sure you're rolling your eyes at the Twitch chatters as you find yourself a more distinguished YouTube viewer. And listen, I don't blame you. But right now, Nush up 5-4. You're not making sense to us, let alone YouTube. You guys totally understood all that. Tempo, reading the early challenge, gets the ball up over the top and lets it float in for the tie game. I think these guys are fairly equally matched. We didn't really get to see as much from Nush in the salt mine that we would have liked to. I think he only got to play the last qualifier due to finally being old enough to do so. Because the qualifier had like a 15-year-old limit, despite RLCS having a 13-year-old one. Salt mine was up at 15, I believe. And Nush only recently became 15 years old. So I think given more chances, we would have seen a lot of strong results from Nush. Unfortunately for the Killiers fans, the one qualifier that Killiers queued up for, Nush ran into him and ended up being the one to eliminate him. Tempo's going to drop a what a save. It is a pretty nice recovery there to clean up that ball and get it off the post back into his control, but it's over to Tempo, who has gone for a diagonal flick, catch and flick. Not easy to do, and didn't get the kind of power necessary to make that worthwhile. Nush, reset. Is he going to go double reset? He fakes the second one and just uses it to recover and be prepared for the backflip. Nice read of the defense from Nush here as Tempo single jumping due to the second reset and could not side flip to recover enough from it. I still think this decal is so sick from Tempo. I'm like staring at the decal instead of watching the game. Nice. Nice kickoff win for Tempo as he cuts it in field. And, you know, the Dominus is a really good car for those positions when you have to play on very little boost and you want to get a really strong flick. The Octane, I was about to say Octane hitbox. The Dominus hitbox helps that out a lot. Now, Nush is going to immediately kick off goal right back in order to counter this, put himself back in the lead. It's going to be a delay wave dash. Only slight delay, though. Not as heavy as we've seen some delays. Tempo, a potential chance to tie it up here with 10 seconds left to go. Wall to air dribble. Shot from Tempo is placed so well. These guys have just been throwing punches back and forth. Nush did not win the race to the boost, trying his best to recover, but the placement there is so perfect. Off the post and in. Doesn't get better than that. And Nush now, he's single jumping so early. This is unique, I think, to Nush. I want to say we've seen him do it before. Needs a half flip recovery, but he should be able to get it and get the ball in at 0 seconds. Oh my goodness. Perfection. It's a short bounce, but it's exactly timed to get him the win. And like I said, I think it was clear he's going to be able to do it. There was just enough time. Would have been a bummer if that had somehow find its way to hitting the ground before crossing in, but Nush will take game number 1 in this best of 5. Game number 2, Nush and Tempo. Oh no! I have never cared more about a decal than Tempo's, and I'm actually so disappointed it's gone now. That decal was so sick, and now it's back to a more classic Tempo car. Emac Mace, thank you for the 1 million viewer raid. Can we get some W raids in the chat? Tempo, nice wave dash pop of the ball to get it going. Tried to chain that with a solid flick, but couldn't get out ahead of Nush. Nush out of the back corner, knowing Tempo is waiting for him. He tried to bring it down to the ground, but actually a great challenge. Tempo might even score from it. Tempo, aggressive defensively and is rewarded. Covers the dribble the whole time. Leaves a little bit later than Nush does off the ceiling so that he can stop any pop-up. If Nush decides to use a restart thing to pop the ball up, he's now just going to pop it into Tempo. So he feels discouraged from doing that and instead wants to just fall all the way to the ground. And then Tempo gets a clean takeaway and scores off it moments after to tie up this game. Tempo save and counter off the backboard just to buy himself a bit of time. Nush is going to try another dribble off the ceiling, passing it to himself. The musty is just too high. Now both of these guys have thrown heat heaters of, I don't know what I'm trying to say. Very hot musties at each other, but both too high. Tempo bumps to the side off the kickoff, so he just goes with it and side flips his way over to the half boot or the midfield boost. Nush easily going to be able to score here. I think this is a bit of a Tempo mistake. I was going to say gifted, but I want to see Tempo's challenge here. Yeah, he didn't expect Nush to catch that ball and get just the right amount of movement. When you're setting at 50s, you have to be so exact. Sometimes even just shifting the ball slightly puts you on the wrong side of the center mass of the ball. And instead of fighting against the offender, you're just helping him out. Passing them a setup. Tempo, double, tried to change the angle. The back wall setup made it look like it was going right post. So he wanted to put it on the left after Nush goes in and out, but couldn't get the finish. Nush fake. And we'll shoot it in that left side. Nush wave dash kickoff has been clean, and it's gotten him a few different goals now. That is just ridiculous. The ability to glue the ball there at center field. It looks like Tempo didn't even flip into it when you watch it from his POV. Buck 50, the 90 stream streak. Nush clipping on the kickoff to make it 5-2. Gets bumped into the side wall, and he just booms this ball into a double. And nothing Tempo could do when he does it so quickly. I don't think there's really a way to score consistently that fast, unless you get help from your opponent, like he did, who bumped him over there in the first place. Tempo out of the back corner, has the ceiling reset. His musty falls short. 5-2 now for Nush. Nush, I think, didn't like his setup. He did his best to roll around the ball to get a flip that would actually flick the ball, but still didn't really work out. Tempo as Nush in net seems to be trying to bait him out a little bit more. Pulled a couple pads of boost out of him. And oh my goodness, this angle from Tempo. Nush is going to drop him a nice one. I almost thought this was a mistake trying to shoot it from here. Surely he should just hold his possession and keep it longer, whereas if he misses, then he's getting scored on, or at least he's, losing possession. And yet here I am being completely wrong. He knows exactly how to slot it right in the right position. Slot is not spelled like slaughter without the ER. My man is thinking viciously. It's a SLOT slot. Then again, there are a ton of army men marching on the stream, so Tempo just handed the ball over. Rare mechanical mistake from these players at this level, but Tempo clearly trying to set up a flick and flubbed it. Nush. Oh, what a save from Tempo. My goodness. We watched it through his POV the whole way. The fact he was able to make it back. Nush is going to get a save as well, but he awkwardly landed Yeah, TempoH recognized that. In and out from Nush on the save the other way. Oh, actually not even, he pogoed it. He pogoed it off the back wall. I don't know if he did so intentionally. I mean, I don't think it was the right play, but also when you're going to land directly on the center of the curve, you know, there's not an easy way to land and keep momentum. If you land a little bit high, you know, you could turn around and shoot out the bottom. If you land a little bit low, you could shoot up, but he was landing in a spot that maybe would have killed all his momentum. Probably still better to just land regularly, but it also would have been actually insane if he intentionally pogoed off the back of the net to get back into position. Nush is trying to add to the montage, and I think he's succeeding in doing so. He needed a couple more clips for the Nush montage 3, and why not do it here? The fake flick, and then he ends up just forward flipping after rolling through the ball in order to push it through. And he's up 7-4 right now. TempoH throws a shot on target. Nush. Nothing comes of this attack. We have 43 seconds for TempoH to get something going. Nush faking multiple touches in a row. Seems like it's slightly tilted TempoH as he's now forced to back off. Nush booming this one into the ceiling. Not only what you want to do, forces the ball back down, makes it hard to carry. He tried to go for a pogo to make up for it. TempoH. Oh my goodness. He will not fake this flick this time, and he also makes sure it does not go too high. These guys have done similar shots, but they've sent them both into the crossbar. TempoH makes sure this one falls down far enough that it makes it in past Nush, and now he needs some kickoff magic. By the way, L3NCC, I'm not sure if I thanked you for the prime 2 minutes ago. I don't want to forget. TempoH not going to get to his own corner boost, and that's probably enough to end the game. Nush, by all means, could waste the timeout. In fact, he's just going to get himself another goal, knowing he's going against a zero boost defender who will not rise up to meet him here at a double jump height. He just slowly dribbles it before front flipping it in just underneath the crossbar. And it's an 8-5 lead and almost certainly a Game 2 win for Mr. Nush. Nush getting mechy with it. TempoH will deny the clip, but Nush will win the game as he goes up 2-0. Game 3, Nush and TempoH. Nush with the early single jump, quick wave dash kickoff. Nush able to force this one out ahead for another early lead. Game 1 was 8-7. Someone asked in chat in favor of Nush. Game 2, 8-5 in favor of Nush. As Vix points out, the rest of the games may just be must-win games for TempoH, who has had a long Rocket League day today. It's kind of a mix between two different levels of focus. Nush saying he's got to be focusing on finals, hasn't played him as much Rocket League, but is down to play. TempoH, coming off of the biggest warm-up he'll ever get, said he had a really long RLCS day 1, and clearly has been playing a decent amount of Rocket League recently. Double reset from TempoH. The fake to the ground. He's on the board. VIP me to prove it's live. What if I just time you out? Certainly that's got to be just as good, right? Tempo flick to make it 2-1. Mods did that? No, it was me. Nush taking his kickoff into the back corner, and now air dribbling the length of the field. A clean shot to potentially finish it, but I think it was still going to land just barely short, if not low on the ground. I love this pinch from Tempo. You guys haven't seen him do it. I mean, he hasn't ever really used it to outplay anybody. I mean, here he just guarantees his shot's going to go in, but it was going to go in anyways. This little ground pinch flick. That seems like it's either easier to do with the Dominus, or it just so happens Tempo is the only one who really does it as basically a celebration. Nush kickoff win. Tempo dribble and cuts to get a fourth. By the way, the YouTubers are here today. We haven't been doing streams like this one as live streams on the VODs. We've been mostly doing member only for stuff that's going to become YouTube videos. Today I decided to just make it a full-on live stream, and we'll see. Nice shot from Nush. Ooh, it's just a bit too high. Because I think the danger is that it'll be too close to the YouTube videos and therefore split viewership, and basically the YouTube algorithm ends up saying, both videos are bad because both videos kind of only had half of the people's attention because they end up splitting over. So I think that might not be great, but I don't know. We're going to try it out. YouTubers or YouTube watchers. I like to call the YouTube viewers YouTubers sometimes to save some words. Tempo, nice cut across the nets. Go D12, leave the 4 months of Prime. You know what the YouTubers who are there, YouTube viewers, could do to make up for it? Not forget to send over their Twitch Prime. Then it will all equalize. Nush. Off the backboard for the Diaz challenge. Seems like he's more than capable, and he gets denied again. The last one was going to finish even shorter. Tempo is basically punishing him, saying, you cannot do this. You cannot go for full field dribbles because I'm going to keep making saves. But as Nush points out, he says, what a save. And it's well-deserved because that is not an easy save to make. But Tempo makes it, and he's made it twice now. I think the last one was a little bit easier. This one, pretty tough. Nush pinching this into the control of Tempo, who will take it up to the sky. So Nush has pre-jumped him and just barely connected with the ball. Looks like he maybe overshot it, but adjusts back down to make contact. As we are now in the first game where it seems like Tempo's in control. He's going to go for a full field dribble himself. Tried to cut it to the bottom right, and it looks like, you know, there's a reason why we should be so impressed with Diaz, okay? That is what should be the takeaway from watching both these guys attempt to go full field dribble on each other, and both of them defending each other's attempts easily and countering them. Diaz does this with such consistency that it's not even a risk for him. It's like a guaranteed goal. And even when he doesn't score, he's able to recover. Whereas these guys have had essentially no success with it. Both of them have had pretty good dribbles, but both of them have been able to save each other's attempts fairly easily. Tempo stealing this one away. No fanciness for the finish this time, just a double jump. Bro yaps 24/7, but then saves one word on YouTubers. It just feels efficient, you know? YouTube viewers. Ooh, Nush. The single jump, then rolling around to just make it a quick recovery on the dash, but still a Tempo possession. Using the catch of the ball. This is what's so interesting about people who are good at getting the resets. He has a ton of momentum, and I feel like he uses the wheel touch on the ball to almost glue himself to it temporarily and kind of slow down the momentum and put himself in control of the play. And he ends up converting to make it 8-4. Seems like Tempo's on track to get a game win here. Chat did call a must win, and there is Nush saying he's down to go next. Doesn't even want to watch that one go in, as Tempo takes game number 3. Game number 4, Nush and Tempo. Tempo attempting the reverse sweep. But I wish he would do it in that original decal he had on. It was so sick. Oh, Nush! He is adding to the montage yet again. This time on the wall to air dribble, gets the resets and rolls backwards into a backflip flick. I mean, I say backwards because normally you roll backwards. I guess technically he rolled forwards. He turned around and rolled forwards into a backflip flick. But everyone is so used to seeing the musty setup as opposed to, you know, well, I guess whatever you would call that one. He's going to go for it again, or at least fake it, go to the 50. Okay, Nush is in the zone. Nush is nushing is a great way to put it. I was about to say, he's about to get into his free play zone, which can get dangerous when he's in the flow state. Nush, another kickoff win. Has to take it to the skies, you would think, with how that's been going for him, but the first touch was so heavy towards the net. No real way to get back underneath it and make any adjustments to it, so he just rolls it directly at Tempo, who has now forced him into his net. Tempo heads to the ceiling, but forgot to bring the ball with him. He needed to touch that a little bit higher if he wanted to make that setup make any sense. Instead, he just went up there by himself, and Nush will gladly take over control. I missed wave dash. I gotta think that that was Nush trying to pop the ball forward and get his wheels on the ground, but because he flips through it, there's no follow-up from him. This guy's playing at lightning speed right now. Tempo able to guide Nush's shot up. Now has a possession of his own, quickly counterattacking and putting it top shelf. This is just a fun match to watch. Nush and Tempo, you know they're going to give you a good series. And when you put them both together, you're doubly sure. Nush, pogo shots, red by Tempo. Tempo gonna delete Nush and actually couldn't get to the ball in time. You see the little frustration because he wanted to get up and bring that ball to net ASAP, but because he took too long, the ball got out ahead of him to where he could only tap it sideways instead of towards the net, and then Nush on the counterattack from his own back corner, dribble near the ceiling heights, and his reset shot is just so perfectly placed. We have seen these guys miss a couple times on the placements, but they seem to be dialed in now, as that one is crossbar down and in. Tempo boost steal. Making sure to grab the midfield as well. Now has the ball taken away. Can he convert on it? Nice save from Nush. But he's still on zero. Taking a trip out to get some pads. Even wave dashing to go deep to pick up just another 12. And that will get him scored on. That's what I was talking about. This third pickup, this one and this one are fine. But dashing out to the third and you're taking a huge risk that you get scored on. And that is exactly what happened. Nush. One boost left over from the kickoff. Little zap dash from Tempo. As Nush doing more than just trying to buy himself time. He cut it so that Tempo had to retreat. And I thought maybe he was just going to do that and leave. But actually electing to stay on the ball and just see what he can make happen with the little boost he does have. Nush. To the ceiling, gets the reset, flips underneath the ball. Tempo makes a save, and Nush trying to pre-flip recover. Did not connect, but did enough to slow Tempo down, who was worried about going quickly. Oh, that almost rolled in slow enough, but it does force its way in. 3-3. Kishwal, who's a believer in Nush, silenced now by the comeback after a couple clips from Mr. Nush to open this game. Tempo. Reset carry into the top shelf. 4-3. Keisha will all but put it into the world. And Nush. Maybe there's a world in which he hits that side flip with his car pointed a little bit higher up in the air and it taps the ball away, but As it stands, the save is not made. Tempo kickoff goal to make it a 2-goal lead. Nush reset around midfield, and what a carry to get this out around Tempo. We'll watch it again from Tempo POV. You know, you've seen reset shots before, but he just does such a good job of rolling underneath the ball, keeping maximum height. I think Tempo knows that that shot is coming as well. He's expecting the reset to be used, and yet Nush is still able to get it even farther past where he would expect. Tempo fake wave dash gets Nush off the back wall. Nush, what a save! He floats in the net to make the save, even after Tempo's plan worked exactly how he wanted it to. He wanted to fake that wave dash, get Nush off the back wall, and then beat him there, because he's assuming that he is not going to have an easy time adjusting his car and making the save once floating. But Nush does exactly that, and he's able to tie it up. Now another one of his delay wave dash kickoffs. Didn't really get the wave dash, but did get possession, and is up 6-5. Tempo. Kick out possession here. Oh my goodness, so much power from those flicks. Does not take this air dribble very high and cleanly carries it. Seems like he might be going to the ground. By the time Nush recognizes not going to go to the ground, it is going to be a flick. It is already past him and into his net. Nush out of the back corner, challenged by Tempo, who had a decent amount of success doing this aggressive challenge last time. He forced Nush to go to the ground and then took the ball away from him there. This time Nush gets the ball stolen high up in the arena before Tempo is able to follow up. Casual, I watched this live. Tempo wins. Stop pretending like because we had one replay review in the past 2 years that now every show match is not live. Nush grabs a demo and makes it 7-7. Nush some camera checks to see what he's dealing with. He is able to grab his own back corner boost. So Tempo in a tough position. Tried to buy himself some time by rolling it up the side wall, but Nush is going to show that's exactly where he wanted it. And he goes for the 50 on the fake and lets it slow roll in. Nush so comfortable behind the ball in the air. Only the best of players can look like anything could happen on their air dribble. And Nush is definitely one of them, and he does it unconventionally as well, so it's not as easy to read. Tempo wins a kickoff back and forth. These guys keep trading kickoff possessions. Nush could secure the game here as he tried to go for a reset shot. Awkward landing from Tempo. If he got a perfect half-flip recovery, he might have been able to score. Still Nush not out of the woods yet. It's going to be a sidewall from Tempo at 0 seconds. Has to score it if he wants OT to try and force game 5. Wave dash pop from Tempo. Nush missed, but can he get it back on target? No, he put it too high. And the ball will hit the ground. And Mr. Nush will win 3-1. GG's. I, of course, did not get it out in time. Thank you to these guys for playing. That was a good one.